Hi everyone. Thanks so much for joining me again. I hope you found Friday's video helpful, and I want to build a little bit on that today. But just to remind you that I really want to help you to feel less anxious about 2022, a little bit less overwhelmed with facing the unpredictable. And the way to do that is to be prepared, to face whatever comes, to have a sense of what we can most likely expect, but also know that we're ready to pivot and change and shift regardless of what we may face. As I mentioned, I've been helping churches for decades to study trends, to seek a better way to navigate the changing internet-connected world, not just in the worship space, but in how we do church. And I've been working with that in my own ministry, with my own online community, and it's been such a wonderful journey of discovery. I mentioned on Friday that I want to speak about the one primary reality that you will have to accept and learn to navigate to thrive in 2022 and beyond. And it's this, it's simple. You know about it, you've been working in the space already, probably for at least a year and a half. And it's this, church is now offline and online simultaneously. We're not going to be able to just go back to normal and let go of the online church and do everything in person. I also believe that while we can do a lot of work online, we always need to connect into offline, in-person meetings and gatherings and working together in some way. And we're going to need some creativity to deal with that. Online and offline are not going to be completely separate and never will the twain meet. They are now together. The word hybrid is being used a lot. I'm going to say that I would like to go further than that. But first, some key insights. The first one is the online world is not the offline world seen through a screen. And we really have to get our heads around that. That's one of the reasons why I think that streaming of offline services has a sell-by date. I know a lot of churches are still doing that and doing it very successfully. But I believe in the next 4 or 5 years, we're going to find that streaming an offline service isn't sufficient to connect meaningfully with people in your online community. And so we need to recognize the online world is not the offline world seen through a screen. It's its own world, and it's a real world. The second insight I think we need is that people increasingly are living in a world where we need to be free of the constraints of space and time. We need to know that things are on demand, that when I have time, I can engage with things that I want to. And we've seen that happen in video, in music, in sound, podcasts. All of these things are becoming things that people can engage with in their own time when they're available. Church hasn't made that shift yet, and I think we're going to need to. We also need to enable people to engage across space. I don't have to be in the United States to do business with people in the United States. I don't have to be in Australia in order to connect with other people and have relationships with people in Australia. And so we're breaking free of our geography. Now, for different people, time and space and how we connect with others, those values are important differently and they're expressed differently. But that doesn't mean that we don't need to still break free to some extent of time and space. Many people are going to be, probably most, are going to be navigating between online worlds and offline worlds, probably for the rest of our lives, certainly the foreseeable future. Which means that our communities need to manifest in multiple ways, online, offline, hybrid, and in so many different configurations, including families. That's why I don't think the word hybrid goes far enough. I like to think of churches becoming multi-manifestational communities. Multi-manifestational communities. Having said that, I think the third insight we need is to recognize that there always needs to be a center of gravity for a community. And that's true online as much as it is offline. You need a good platform as the center of your online community. Offline, it's easy. We've got our churches. We've got our buildings where we meet. That's not going to work as an offline center of gravity for an online community. So alongside our offline center of gravity, our church, we need an online one, some platform. Facebook, WhatsApp, those things can be helpful, but they can't be the center of gravity. We're going to need better, more stable, and more owned platforms that we own. And there are many available out there, and I can help you to navigate that territory if you need to. So those insights, the online world is not the offline world seen through a screen. We're needing to break free of time and space, and we need a center of gravity for our online communities as we have for our offline communities. Those things are going to help us to navigate this hybrid, this connected, this multi-manifestational reality that we live in. And so what are some key things that we can do to begin to move into this kind of multi-manifestational life? You got to start with the tech, and it doesn't have to be complicated, and it doesn't have to be expensive. You probably know this already because you've been doing it. If you're going to use videos, use your phone to record them. Most smartphones have plenty good enough cameras to be able to do good video. I'm recording this video on my own smartphone right now. To edit the video, you don't need expensive packages. There is some wonderful free software. Keep it simple so that you can do it as quickly and easily as possible. Make sure your lighting is good. You don't necessarily need special lights. If you've got natural light available, use that as much as possible, or even a simple ring light would be fine. The key thing, you want to make sure your sound is as good as you can make it. You probably see I have a microphone on. If you can do that, that's great. Otherwise, again, just using your smartphone mic, as long as you're in a quiet room, is usually okay. And then just think about what's going to be on the camera and make sure that it looks pleasing. Simple is good. Natural is good. So just in that little description, those 5 things, video editing, lighting, sound, and seeing what's on screen, that will help you to create videos that are engaging and draw people in. That's all you need in terms of the tech for your online worship. But also recognize, and this is the second thing that we have to do, is know that the offline and the online communities are going to impact each other. And that means we're going to have to start experimenting. And as part of that experimentation, recognize that we're going to make mistakes, we're going to fail. That's part of the process. So embrace learning with a passion. And then find your way through this amazing new world through your authenticity. Find your own way, not the way that other people are saying you must take, which I know sounds a bit ironic because I'm giving you some guidelines right now. But who you are as a community, who you are as a person, that's what you will bring into these online spaces. That's what you'll try and show through your technology. That's your most important gift to the people you're going to try and reach and serve. Just this last week, I was chatting with a church that did my course, A New Church for a New World, and they're ready to jump in with online church. And so much so that they've put a team together and they developed a budget for their own online platform that was hundreds of thousands of rand that they were going to, that they wanted to invest into this. And they asked me if I could help them with a conversation. And I was able to help them to work out the tech they need, much cheaper, a few thousand rand as opposed to hundreds of thousands, and how to get more clarity around their processes and their purposes as they move towards this hybrid, multi-manifestational kind of church. Now, you're probably thinking, many of you, oh, but we're a small church. We can't do complicated online stuff. We don't need to, and we aren't able to shift into a new way of doing church. Well, I want to suggest that you already have shifted into a new way and you're not going to be able to go back. But going forward doesn't have to be complicated. It is essential for your survival in your ministry, but keep it simple. Take one step at a time. Just do what you need to do. And then move on to the next thing. Some of you may be going, but I don't have time or energy after everything that's been going on to try and do anything new or to learn anything new. Well, I'd love to help you with that. You see, the challenge, I believe, is not in doing new things. It's in feeling overwhelmed and feeling like there's too much to learn and we don't have time to learn it in. When you start small and simple, that gives you time, and you can grow if you want to, and you can grow if it fits your situation. But also having a guide that can help you through the complexities can also help make the complex simple. And I'd love to help you with that. And so I'm going to end it there, and I'll chat to you again tomorrow. And I want to talk to you about the people you're trying to reach and serve, and the one thing that they need now more than anything else. So stay tuned for that tomorrow. If you found this video helpful, I'd love it if you'd leave a comment or a like, whether it's on the YouTube channel where you're probably watching this, or whether it's on social media where I'll be sharing links for this video. It would be great if you could just leave a comment. If you have questions that you'd like me to answer, feel free to leave those questions. But thank you so much for listening. Chat to you again tomorrow.